So there, now we go.
Thank you.
So perfect. Thank you, darling. I knew somebody would remind me. That's your job, okay? Used to be you and Miss Estelle, but she's going to the instructor training and she jumps in when they get Spanish. So Miss
Oh,
Constance, you make sure you remind me if I don't.
the big
So
shot, huh? Okay.
uh, there you go. We all have tasks to perform. So what I did was when I went to my wine page, I did one that was wine and romance. And I noticed that one of the pictures would not go away. And it kept following my boxes, but I could never get rid of the picture. So I went into my edit and changed it. Where is it? That's not it. That's in draft. Did I take it out altogether? I might have. Well, maybe I went past it. But anyway, so when I took it out and changed it up a little bit, it took away all of my pictures, all of them. So I was like, well, that'll be a good, there it is. I was like, this would be a good way to go in and show you how to modify, because I really need to modify the whole page and update it, and show you how we can go in and do that, add some new pictures, because I went in and took out most of all of the pictures that were in there, and I'm going to show you how to get rid of that. Like I said, this is one of the first pages I did. A lot of it is just a copy over from another page and put in here. There's really not a whole lot of editing going on other than just, you know, switching some verbiage around. It's going to fine wines. Yeah, seeing a lot of it is just going to another wine page and internal. So that one's going to external. So what we're going to do is go in here and change some of these images. And just basically, I'm going to redo this whole page. We might not get through the whole page today, but we are going to go through and get rid of a lot of this content. I'm still going to keep the key phrase. And the reason I want to keep this is because I've already advertised this page. So I don't want to lose the traffic I have by changing this key phrase. If I change the key phrase, then it changes the slug. And then it makes the page that I have out there previously, it turns it into a broken link. So we don't want to do that. But I do want to make sure that I'm updating. So my key phrase with this one is romance with wine. And I might just go ahead and do another page with this and call it wine romance. I'm really not sure. But for today, we're going to go in and change this page and modify it. And basically, that's what we're going to be working on. And we're also going to show you how to get your links and add images.
Great, great.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is take all of my images out. And the reason I want to do that is so I don't have any kind of idea of what's in there. I'm basically going to start with a clean slate.
But Sheila, can I ask you something? I know it's maybe not the right way, but I get excited sometimes with the pictures that I pick, which can lead to different things I talk about. I mean, you know, it's like it gives me, oh, I just talked about this, but oh, look at the picture I just picked, or pictures that I picked I want to put in here, and oh, I can say this about this. No?
Yeah, it's totally up to you how you want to do it. I always do my content first and then find the pictures later. Like yeah, and like with you, your train of thought is motivated by an image. So it's all depends on your style. If you, there's no really wrong way to do it. I promise you, there's no really wrong way to do it. To me, if I have the images removed, then I basically start with a clean slate, and I'm probably going to change the images anyway. And then I can just concentrate on my verbiage that's here. But again, if you want to start with your images, I know Rory sometimes, depending on which way he wants to go, he'll load his pages up with images and then he writes around his images. And then sometimes he has a story in his head or an idea, and he'll write all of it down and then come back and organize it and put his headers in and puts his images and his links. So again, it just depends on your style and where you are in your writing. You know, like you said, it could be you have a bunch of images and you can basically put the images in a story and then come back and write your story around your images. So it depends on your frame of mind, where you are and how you want to write your page. That's why we're all individual, and our websites should appear that way. Our websites should not look like copies of anybody else's. They should all be original. They should, you know, with our anchor offers, they should be similar as far as how the content appears, but the content shouldn't be exact. So the message should be the same, but how it's perceived and brought across to your customer or your visiting people that's coming to your website should be different. And that's how you develop your customers and your clients, is that they connect with you based on your images, based on your writing, based on the content and the overall appearance of your website. Just like with any other store preference, you know, my mother-in-law, she loves JCPenney's. My mom, she loves Belks. Me, I'm a Walmart kind of girl. Roses, that's me. Discount stores, more bang for my buck. But again, it's all in a preference. You know, not to say that they won't shop at the other stores, but if you have a preference, where do you go to? And the ultimate goal is you want your customers and your clients, their preference will always be your website first. And if they can't find it there, then they go to an alternate means. But you should be able to develop that rapport to where they can contact you. They should have your email number or your Google Voice number, or be able to go to your Response Magic or your email and say, hey, I was on your website, I didn't see this. Do you have anything like this? And that will give you a clue. Let me go find me an affiliate for that. And as soon as you get one or one similar, then you can develop that rapport with that customer that's coming to your website looking for something. And that's your ultimate goal, is to have that customer. So that's why you want to have those contacts on your website. Let them contact with you on Facebook or your social media, or give them your email address, or give them your Google Voice number, you know, to text. And I always say text, not call. Tell them to text me at this number. And you can actually say text only. And then that way you develop, they have a way to contact you to say, this is an actual person, this isn't a spam or anything like that. They can actually see that you are a live person that's doing this. So that's why it's important to use those outlets in your website somewhere, either on your thank you page, your welcome page, or even periodically through a page if you can work it in, to let them know how to contact you with any ideas or feedback on your pages.
Okay.
So, all right.
Sheila.
Yes.
And I like this taking the pictures out. I've been, you know, modifying my pages, and sometimes you go there and there's a lot of pictures and it kind of overwhelms me. But I think this is a good idea to take the pictures out, and then it seems simpler and it's not so overwhelming.
It is.
I'm gonna try that.
Yep. It makes it, with me, I don't, because if I see a picture, then I think that's a direction that I need to take the paragraph, and I might have something else in mind, and I'll see a picture, an image, and it changes how I'm thinking, and therefore the top part of it doesn't flow with what the bottom part is, because I let that picture influence me.
I run into that too, and I'm going to try this. This is wonderful.
Yeah. So whenever I'm going to modify a page, and I only do it when I'm modifying a page, is I take out all the images. It just, and start with a clean slate. Because then all I have is my verbiage, and I can change my verbiage all the time. I don't have any distractions. Now my dad, he's the complete opposite. He can make a picture say anything he wants to, but he's an artist, you know. So, you know,
Right.
And again, like I said, it depends on your frame of mind and your thinking process, your thought process. I've seen Rory where he goes and he actually modifies a page, and he takes all the content out because he already knows what it says, or he already has an idea of what he wants it to say, but he has his images, and he lets his images basically dictate how he wants the page to flow. So it just depends on your thought process at the time. With me, I'm all about content. You know, I have it in my head. I have the idea in my head. I get my pictures last. I get my links very last. I never put a link in anything until I'm finished writing and I have all my pictures, and then I was like, okay, what do I need to put here? But that's just me. I'm a story type of person. I want to relate with the story and then catch you with the images and then have you shop.
I
So,
like that too. I think the same way. I'm gonna
yep,
try that. That's
yep.
gonna be help a lot.
All right.
Thank
So
you.
you're very welcome. So then, like with, like I said, we're going to modify this page. I might not get through all of it, but we're going to at least attempt as much of it as we can. I'm going to show you
Okay.
how to do the modifications. I'm going to show you how to go back and get your images to put in there. And then the very last thing we're going to do is get links, and links to depend on whatever your page is comprised of, or what the idea or the flow of it is. So this one here, I might just keep some of it. Again, when you have your key phrase, if it's a page you've already advertised, do not change your key phrase. Do not change your focus keyword. You can actually change your title a little bit if you want to, unless you've advertised that title, but you want to make sure that your key phrase is still there. And I think I'm still going to leave this title because I've actually used that URL, but so we're going to leave that. And then all I'm going to do is open up a different block. And I think I want to use a classic block. Okay. And we're going to pick up a couple of other things. Oh, come on. All right. My spell checker. So then what you do is after you've basically rewritten this, it doesn't have to be the same. That's the thing about rewriting. You want to keep the general overall idea of the paragraph without using the exact same wording. That's the whole point of modification. The idea is the same, the word or content's different. So then once you finish it, then you just come back here and you delete, remove the block of the one you just did, and then you just update. And I might not update all of them. I might just do a few. And this one sounds good. So we can leave that because this is an introduction. This basically explains, and then we're going about where to start. And so this is basically talking about food. So let's come here. All right, so my header, I have a heading 3, and we can leave that. So here I'm going to go back to another paragraph. And if you want to, we can do it like this as well. Since we're here, if we just want to modify in here, you just see a few words you want to change. You don't have to open up a new paragraph block. You can change it within here. And as you can see, I'm changing some verb content, going from passive to present.
Oh, it's making me hungry. It's all my favorite things.
So, great steak. And, you know, I might put in here my preference because you never know who's reading it.
True.
I always say medium rare, and then that way if they bring it to me and it's overcooked, because everybody doesn't do medium rare. I like mine at a slow crawl, but I don't like it rare. My husband says when I stab it, I like to hear it go moo just a little bit. But I don't, but I always say medium rare. In most places they get it right. I've had some places come back and there's no pink at all in it. And so I'm like, are you sure this is medium rare?
Yeah.
Paired with a Great Merlot or Malbec. All right, so since I already have, all right, so I can take this right here off because I'm basically repeating. All right. So this isn't really a sentence. That is amazing. All right. So there, I like the rest of that. So again, you don't have to modify a lot, especially if it's your own page. This is my own page. So I really don't need to change a whole lot. I just wanted to freshen it up a little bit. And I'm probably going to take this out as well, just remove the link, because I'll probably put something else in there because I've created some more content in there, more pages that I can actually link with this. Wine romance. And instead of saying be spontaneous, I'm going to say, see if I can say this, spontaneity. Okay, all right. That ain't right. Let's see. There it is. And I might want to center this. And it's already bolded, and I can actually color it if I want to. All right. And so now I'm going to change this verbiage from spontaneous to spontaneity. Now I just did that. You're telling me it ain't? Okay. I argue with my computer all the time, as y'all can see. Okay, and then we're just going to change this up a little bit. Okay, so just a few things. Reading a good book. Okay. Instead of saying cents, we can just say okay. Excuse me. All right, so we take that out and hit our update. So I've shown you a couple different ways, like I said, just depends on which is more comfortable to you. If you just want to remodify the whole page or the whole paragraph, then you just open up a new paragraph block. Or if you just want to modify a few sentences within the paragraph, you just stay in the paragraph and modify it that way. Like with this one, there's 3 short paragraphs here. I could probably put this into one. So let's see, this is a regular block. So let's do a classic block here. And let's see.
Sheila, this may not be part of it, but why can't I remember how to have a word or even the link in a different color? I mean, is it classic? Is it block?
Yes, you can only put a link in a different color in classic block.
Okay,
If you are in a regular block, just block mode, a regular paragraph block, you cannot change the link to an individual color. You either change the background to one color or you change the text to one color, but you can't change just a particular section of a sentence or a word. Only in classic can you do that.
and when you don't even have a link, but you just want the word to stand out.
Yeah, that's only in classic.
Okay, okay.
Yep, only in classic.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have to say, Sheila, this is the best way for me to learn when I'm watching. So I
Yep.
really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. So now you see I used this one paragraph and I have incorporated these 3 paragraphs into one. Let's see, this one, I think we might do something with that because we're talking about the elixir of life. I didn't put that in there because it doesn't really flow, but I can get rid of this paragraph. Plus I can get rid of this paragraph because I've talked about the campfires, the dark chocolate. I didn't put dark chocolate in it, but that's fine. It's a little bit different. So now I'm going to update. So now I have this. And let's see. And I think we can move this down here because we're talking about elixir of life. And a lot of you don't know this, but if you go to a paragraph, you see this arrow right here. This is your placement for your paragraphs. So say after you've written all your paragraphs and you come across one and you're like, man, that doesn't really fit real there. That would look good down here in this paragraph. You just hit your arrow button and it moves your whole block. So this would actually go better with this content since it's talking about the elixir of life or yeah. So there. So we just changed that and I'm going to update that because this works good because I'm talking about romance, water, wine and water. And I think, let's see. Let's move it down one more because this one, I don't want to move the wrong one. Move this. All right, because this was saying how does wine and water go together? And I might put these 2 in the same paragraph. So let's do this again. How can we incorporate these 2? And see, there's a typo. It looks like I've left out a whole chunk of whatever's supposed to be here. So let's just change this all together. So we can take this out and we're going to copy this sentence and just paste it right here and move this all together. I just removed that block. So now I've created a whole different paragraph right there. And I'm going to get rid of this link. I'm going to get rid of that one. All right, and I don't really like this, so I'm just going to move this out of the way for right now because it doesn't really flow with this. So now I'm talking about water. All right. And I'm going to just change this around. And we're gonna break this. And we're gonna spice this up. All right, again. Okay, so then we're going to update. And then we're talking about, and I think I'm just going to remove this because it's not going with my flow of thought right now. Okay. All right, so we got rid of that. All right. Romance and wine. Any time of the year, any season. So update that. All right. So now I've done about half of this page. I've got one more thing to do. Now I'm going to go down here and look. So I was in green and green. Now all of a sudden it's green and red. So let's see what my red is. I have 20 sentences that are that contains more than 20 words. My transitions is not enough. I got too much passive, which is fine. I can fix that. So let's see what we need to fix. All right. So I'm not worried about passive or transition. I'm worried about this sentence length. So I'm going to hit this little I. And if yours isn't working, make sure you update. If you update and have all your updates and it still isn't working, then go out and shut down your website and reboot back in, because sometimes it can be up too long. And what this will do, it doesn't show you what's wrong. It shows you wherever every instance of that occurrence is of what you're looking for. So it doesn't show me what needs to be passive. It shows me what is passive. It doesn't show me what's transition, you know, what transition needs to be changed. It shows me where my transition words are. Same thing with sentence. It doesn't tell me which ones need to be changed. It shows me every occurrence of these instances where I have more than 20 words in a sentence. So all I'm going to do is go through and just start at the top and see which ones I can change. Okay, so we can come here. I love a medium steak. Okay. So, and it doesn't mean you have to change all of them. It's just telling you that you have a lot that's in there. Like this is a whole paragraph, which this is the one that we moved. This one is pretty long, so let's see what we can change here. So this one is saying having no distractions. Helps you relax. And we can say, just let yourself be together. And see the purple goes away. Picnic in the park with delicious wine, period. You know, these we can make delicious food. Okay, enjoy a good conversation, period. Catch up with and do this. And we can just take this out. All right, so now let's see. So now we're green. So we got rid of it. And always just go back. Like I said, you don't have to change everything because you do want some of those. You just want to make sure that this score here needs to be above 70. Your flesh score, that means it's easy to read. You don't have a lot of the long sentences. So now your transition words, you see our transition words went from 17 to 13. Our passive words, our transition words went up a little bit. And I can come back and play with this some more to take them out. So let's click this off. And this one has too many passive voice. So we can do that. Click on the I. And it'll show me all of the words that are coming from passive. Excuse me. And the only thing about this is I only have my words. Let's see how many words I have in here. As I continue to write, I can probably get rid of that. And see, this one's telling me I got my key phrase too many times in the subheadings, which is fine. My meta description length is too long. I got to go fix that. I don't have any images. My title is too short. I only have 1,000 words in here, which is usually short for me. I usually average about 1,200 words in a page. And like I said, I'm still going to modify this a bit more. So I'm not going to really worry about that. It will go away, but I do need to go in and change my meta description. So let's go in and fix that. So my meta description is orange. So you can see right there, you get orange if it's too long, you get red if it's way too long, you get red if it's too short, orange if it's done. You always want to strive for green. So I'm going to come in here and just change this. You always want to make sure that you use your key phrase in your meta description. All right, period. So now it's green. And I'm just going to close my snippet. And I'm going to see what else needs to fix. Images is fine. Subheadings, there are more than 75% of your higher subheadings that reflect your topic. So let's go. So I got romance and wine as a topic, romance and wine on the beach. So I can just take this out and just say romance on the beach. That's fine. So let's see if that helped with that. Let's do our update. So that took care of that. And now we're going to do our images. So we took all of our images out. We didn't put them in there. And so now what I'm going to do is go through here and think about what my topics are. And, you know, romance with wine is one of my first ones that I did. And sometimes it's best not to have an image in between your title and your first paragraph, because then your Yoast is going to say that you don't have your title in your first paragraph because your first block is actually going to be an image. So you don't want to put an image right here after your title. You always want your first paragraph to be there. You also want your key phrase to be in your first sentence, if at all possible, at the beginning within the first 2 or 3 words. You don't want to have it at the end. Even though it's in the first sentence, it will say that it's not in their first, it doesn't appear in the first words of your sentence. So if you can, that's why it's key when you make a key phrase or a key word, that it's usable. It's very user friendly, that it's easy to use at the beginning, middle, or anywhere within your sentence and make sense. So that's one of the things you want to make sure, that it is at all possible within the first 2 or 3 words of your first sentence in your first paragraph. That's one of the key things that Google looks for. And then that you use it in, depending on the length of your sentence or the length of your paper, you want to have it at least in 1 to 2 of your titles or your headlines, headers. So what we're going to do is, let me go ahead and get this I off of here that takes off that bold. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is find pictures. Most of you have pictures already in your media. If you don't, the easiest way to do it is just type in what your topic is about. Mine's about romance. And go to Google, look up romance, and then just go to images. And I try not to get anything with words on it, but anything that looks cute, fun, like this is a fun picture. It doesn't have any logos or anything like that. This is really cute too. This is fun and whimsical. I like this. So I always do save image as. And then I have my blogging pictures folder. And I actually have one that says romance. So I'm going to find my romance folder. And I name it. So I know what I'm using. And then couple sunset, save image as. And once you use your folder once, it will show up every time you go to download a picture. Now, I do have some of my students that have alternative lifestyles. Again, that is totally up to you how you want to portray it. Just make sure it's tasteful. You don't want to turn anybody off of your website. Like again, I said, I don't use anything that has writing on it. This is simple. I like that. Something different. And ugh, okay. This is to me, this is sexy and simple. So right here is just romance. They got petals on the sheets. So save image. And like I said, you might not use every image that you pick, but you do have a variety. So now all I have to do is I'm going to go back to my website and I'm going to read this. This is just an overall. And because I have 1,000 words, I only want to use maybe 3 pictures, 4 max. I always say try to use a picture about every 150 to 200 words, 300 max. You don't want to have a photograph album on your page. You want it to be more or less, you know, an eye catcher. I use a lot of, when I do images, I use a lot of gallery images. And then all you're going to do is hit upload. And I'm just going to come here back to my Dropbox, to my blogging, go to my romance. And this is why I always name my pictures. So, excuse me. Oh, don't start, Sheila. So, and like this one, couple on the beach. And because I have a beach scene or I talk about beach, I want to use that for later. I want to use that one for later. So where do I want to do with this? This will be fun. And I'm going to hit upload again. And it's going to bring me right back there. And I'm going to do something with some chocolate. Something fun. And maybe do one more. Oh, I know what I want to do. I'm going to do one for my logos for Valentine's Day. Even though it's not Valentine's, it's still usable. Because I am talking about romance, and that Valentine's Day page talks about romance. So then I'm going to update it. And if you don't know how to do this when you do gallery, as soon as you click on the gallery block, you will get this image setting over here on the right. And you can see it says gallery setting. So you can choose how many pictures you want in your gallery. I've always chosen 3, but say I wanted to do 4 pictures. So I would just come here and go to my upload and go back to my blogging pictures, go back to my romance, and say I want to do one more. Let's get that one with the heart. Where are you at? There. So because I have it set to go to 3, put the heart at the end. Well, I don't want it to be that big. So what if I say, hey, I want it to have 4? So now all of them's together. And then what you can do is you can actually click on, you can align it, which this one we don't have to, but you can choose where you want these pictures to go. Say I want this one to be in the middle, you know, and you can choose where you want these pictures to show up. And then you can write a caption up underneath it. So if you write your caption, All right, then this one. That one I'm not going to put anything because it would overshadow my link. Okay. And what you can always do is come back. And the reason you want to add these captions is because when you do a gallery like this, you can't put a key phrase in it. You can't link your gallery like you can with an individual image. So you want these captions in here because later when you go to get your links, you can put your links on your caption. You can link your caption to either a page or like with this one, I might link it to my Russell Stover's chocolates. This one, I might link it to maybe a travel site or a vacation spot. Same thing with this one. This will be a good place to do like a camping or a vacation idea. So it just depends on how you want to do it. So I'm going to put that one there. So this is basically giving them an overall image of where my website or where my article is going to be taking them. It's going to take them to rekindling the relationship, saying I love you, doing the little things, you know, even chocolate, you know. So I'm basically introducing my website with images. Or this page. So where to start? So this one, again, we can just do a single image. I'm going to go to, I'm not going to do a gallery. And since this one is talking about food, I'm going to go to my library because I already have one in my library. And I'm just going to scroll down here and find one that has sort of like romance and food together. That's a wedding. That's kind of a couples thing. That's for Halloween. And if you've been here for a while and you've got a lot of images in here, always look here first. Look on your media settings for your images because you don't want to download or reload the same image twice because you're just cluttering up your media profile. And if you use that one, even though it's a duplicate and you come in and delete it, it is assigned a code. So even though it's a duplicate code and you delete it, it will delete that same picture wherever it's at, even though you have a duplicate code of it. It doesn't read it that way. So you want to make sure that you are aware of that. So I already got that one. I know I got one here with some food. I want to use that one for a hot tub. There we go. Food and wine and romance. And then you can center it if you want to make it bigger. And again, always use these captions because it just draws the eye. And it doesn't have to be big. All right, and then you can bold it in italics. You can't color it. It won't allow you because it isn't an image, but you can do all of that. And then once you link it, it turns it blue. And I'm going to update it. And then if you want it bigger, you can just expand it. You just want to be careful that it doesn't get blurry as you expand it. If it's too big, you can always come back and resize it. All right, and then this one, we're talking about romance and spontaneity. So this one, I think I'm going to do another gallery. So we're going to come here and let's do another gallery. And again, I'm going to go to my website, media. Do that one. And let's do a couple more. Y'all just bear with me. And spontaneity could be anything. Like I said, it could be a beach vacation. So I might throw this in there just to be something different. I'm gonna throw how about some jewelry? Jewelry spontaneous. You can do that. Flowers. You can get him some flowers. Roses. Perfect. All right, so then I'm going to create my gallery. And so now this one has 4. So I want to see, what do I want to get rid of? I want to get rid of this one because it doesn't flow with what I decided to do. I want to put this one in the middle. And here we're going to do Weekend Getaway. Okay, so there's my captions right there. And I'm going to insert that into my gallery. So there's that. I got it set for 3. And there's my images. So then we got this, we got Romance and Water. Again, I'm going to put some hot tubs in here. We're going to do 2 of those, and I got plenty of hot tub scenes in my library. I'm just going to go down here and grab a few of those. All right, where are you? When I didn't need you is all over the place. Now I need you, I can't find you. All right, so we're going to use this one, and this one. Looks amazing. All right, and I'm going to add those. And we can change that around a little bit, maybe put that in the middle. All right, so there's that. Insert that to a gallery. So there's that one. Okay. And then our last one is the beach. And again, I'm going to do a gallery because there's just so many beach scenes. You can't go wrong with the beach scene. And I want to upload this one in particular because I like it. And then I'm going to add from my media library my beach scene. I'm just going to come here and find my pictures I want for my beach. Come on. My computer's really slow today for some reason. Right, there's the other one. I want to add you in there. And there's one more. This one looks really good.
Like that one.
Okay. And then we're just going to add that to the gallery. And then once I see my gallery, how I want to choose it, let's do it that way. Start out and holding, and then you can do your caption. All right, and then update gallery. And there's my pictures. And then I'm going to update. Okay, and then if you want to preview it, I always hit preview over here. That way it opens it up in a new page. It doesn't override the page I'm on. Then that way if I see any mistakes that I want to go back and change, my original page is still up. So I'm going to look here, see how my pictures look, if they're centered the way I want them to be centered. And make sure I'm not duplicating any images, okay? All right, so all my key points are made. So now we got to do now is put in our links. And again, the link is totally how you want to do it. You can do your wine ambassador links in here. You can do your chocolate links because I am talking about chocolate. So I'm just going to go to my CJ. And I am going to pull up my chocolate. And I'm going to just get whatever is in there for chocolate. All right, so I'm going to go to links, go to search. And in my search bar, I'm going to go under keywords, not advertiser, because I want to search for all of my advertisers that have chocolate. All right. For those of you that are vegan and are organic, Prana is a good company. They have all types of vegan, organic, and vegetarian types of products in there. I'm still looking for one for clothes. I know there's one out there somewhere that has clothes. So we have the Chocolate of the Month Club. This is a weight system, things like that. This is a new one I got this week, Cookies by Design. I can't wait to get in there to figure out what that is. So here's my Russell Stovers, and I'm just going to come here and click code, get code. I want to use my click URL because I'm linking this to a phrase. And I'm going to go back to my website, and I'm going to do my picture first. So I'm going to come here, highlight my picture, click on my link icon, post my link in there, open it in the new tab, and then save. So that picture is linked. And then I'm going to come down here to where it's talking about chocolate. Somewhere on here I talked about chocolate. Maybe not that far down. Well, maybe I didn't. I did in the original one. I think I might have took that paragraph out, but that's okay. I got it in there somewhere. I might come back later and find it. So I can't find my chocolate, which is fine. So we got that one for chocolate. And then say I want to do vacations. So I'm gonna come here and type in vacation. See what we got for vacation. And you can use your Sephora in here as well to put in here. Here's Orlando. And because I'm telling them to go to, you know, a weekend getaway, so you want somewhere that's going to be close to wherever. Most of the things in the United States, you can get there in a weekend for a plane ride. Like here's Orlando. They can go to Orlando. So I'm just going to click here. Go to get my code. Copy. And I'll do the same thing here. And it doesn't always have to be the beach. It could just be vacation, spontaneity, anything like that. Click on that one. All right, so that one's done. I can go back here and type in beach if I want to and see what we have for beach. All right, beach body. No, I don't want the exercise. Eric dress. You know, you could even incorporate, you know, clothing, you know, for that. Don't want to do that. Fairy season. Lano, new chic. Palace Resorts, that's a great one too. Let's do that one, US. So we're going to click on here, click our get code. Come back here and we can do something about the beach. And I always like to do phrases. So I'm going to do that one. Paste and apply. And then I'm going to bold it and italicize it. So there's that one. And we can actually find another one about being spontaneous. And I already have my wine links in there, so that's why I'm not putting my wine link in there, but you can always throw in your wine link. This is all going back to Palace, okay? And then if I want to, I'm going to go and actually pull up my templates, pull up my ad sites, and grab a couple of internal links. Like this one is talking about relationships. So, hey, I want them to go and read about relationships. So I'm going to copy that and go back to my website. And since we are talking about relationships, my first paragraph, encourage a good relationship. So I'm going to do this right here. And since I'm in Classic Block, as you can see, it has a different toolbar. So I'm going to click on this one, paste it in there, open my link in a new tab and update. And because I am in Classic, I can actually change the color of the link. And only in Classic can you do that. And then I update. You'll want to make sure you're updating every few changes just in case something happens, your computer crashes or your power goes out or whatever, you don't lose your information that you've saved or that you've worked on. So then I'm going to go back and see what else I have in my templates that I can use. And you don't have to click open in a new tab if you don't want to. Here's another one I want to use. It has dating sites. I can actually use that where I have the word relationship. Progress into a more serious relationship. I'm going to do that one. You don't have to do this. I just do it. It's just a habit. And I'm going to bold that one because this is in a regular block. I cannot change the wording or change the color of the words, the link. So, so there's that. And I want to do something here with the flowers and diamonds. So let's go here and type in diamonds. And there's Gabrielle Jewelry. What else do I have? Diamonds USA. There we go. So we're going to do this one. And come back here and highlight this. Okay. And then let's do one for flowers. I think I got the 1-800 flowers. Yep. Fresh floral bouquets. That sounds great. Just get them for any type of the year. And we're going to do this one. All right. And then for the weekend getaway, let's see, I'm going to use my Sephora link. So I'm going to come here and grab my Sephora link and just let them go straight to Sephora. And for those of you that don't know what Sephora is, get with your instructor. It's a link that works just like Expedia and all those other great places. All right, what are you doing? No, I don't want to do that. Okay. All right, so there's that one. And then I'm going to update. And hold on just a minute. All right. So, so that's that. And then I'm just going to update. And so this page is basically redone. I've added my links. This has my wine club. It goes to my ambassador. It says get started today. Goes to wine ambassador for them to sign up for wine. Again, it has, this goes to my Find Wine page. So it's my internal link. So I always click on my update one more time before I leave a page. And then the last thing I do before I get finished is I go down to the bottom and I check on my SEO. All right, so my passive words drop down to 10.8, which is fine. I can, like I said, all right. I don't have enough transition, which is fine. I still have green and green. My flesh score went up from 7.3 to 7.6, which is great. You always want to make sure that's above 70 or at least green. If it's in orange, then you need to go and see what is causing it to be low. Usually it's your sentences is too long, your paragraphs are too long. You got your sentences are too complicated. Google likes short, sweet, and to the point. So you always look at this information here. I'm going to check my SEO, make sure. All right, so because I've used what do you call it? Groupings, gallery settings instead of individual pictures. You can't put your key phrase to it. So you're going to get this image attributes. It says I have 15 images and only 2 of them have attributes that reflect. That's because you can't put them on the individual groups. So that's the downsides of using the gallery, is that you can't link the individual pictures with the wording. So this one right here, you want to make sure when you do have your single pictures or individual pictures, that you come over here to the right side of it where it says image alternative text, you put your key phrase in there. That's what that means, is that you don't have it. And then you can link the picture. I don't have this picture linked, but I'm going to link it. So I'm going to go back to my add copies and see what else I can put in here. I might go down here and put my vacation, my vacation site. Let me come down here. Did I go too far? I pulled up the wrong one. All right, I'm missing some stuff down here. Oh, don't tell me I messed up on what template. I've messed up my template. Lovely. I've lost about 10 pages. Where did they go? There we go. Let's see if you're on this one.
Sheila, if you had an external drive, does that help to sometimes maybe save something onto an external drive?
If you have shortage in your memory on your computer, yes, an external drive is wonderful. I just have, yeah.
If you had done that with some of your subjects, then you could also say, oh, no, I think my external drive has it. So if I've lost it, it's there.
Yeah, I have tons of memory on here, but I have too many templates. I got like 6 templates, so I just forget where I save stuff.
I just sometimes, if I really am like pictures of my jewelry, I just never want to lose it. So I think I've got 2 external drives with them on those. So I know no matter what happens to my computer, or if one external, I've always got pictures.
You got the backup. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just a thought.
Yeah, you are good. So I'm going to come here. I don't know why it's doing that. I want this to open in a new tab. There we go. Okay. So there's that picture. I got it linked. So you're going to go there. You're going to hit your link. I'm going to open it in the new tab, and then it saves. Okay. So now your picture is linked. I can also link this. I'm going to link that one too, and I'm going to link it to the same one. Open it in the new tab, so that's going to there. So now that image is linked, and then update. Okay, so now this page is redone. It's been modified. Some things I changed, some things I didn't, but for all intents and purposes, this is a new site. It's got brand new images in it. It's got new links in it. It's got some refreshing verbiage in it, but it still is my Romance with Wine page. So my link never was broken, but now when people come here to read it, they will have a fresh outlook on it. And I have my green and green, so my Yoast is good. And like I said, I might come back and add some more to it. I didn't change the whole page because this is my original page. Some things I wanted to keep in there, some things I took out. If you are modifying a page that came with your system that you did not originally create, you want to modify it from top to bottom. That doesn't mean that if there's a sentence that you particularly like, that you have to take it out. Just reword it to where it sounds more like something you would say, and just keep the general overall context of it. If there's a page in your system that you don't like at all, don't delete it, just put it in draft, because you might be able to use that content on something else that you get approval for later on down the line. Or as you grow in your system and discover yourself and develop your writing techniques and skills, you'll be able to go back in and manipulate that page into something that you do like. So never get rid of a page, just put it in draft. When you decide to apply for Google AdSense, Google does not see anything that is not published. So if you have pages in there that you mark as private, or pages that are passworded, or pages that are in draft, Google does not look at those. They don't have permission. They can only look at things that are accessed by public searches. So as long as you have it in public and not private or in draft, Google will only see those topics and those pages that are marked published. So don't worry about that. You're like, well, I got these in draft. They don't see it. On the other hand, if you run a broken link checker, it sees everything in your website, drafts included. So don't be too upset when you look at those and you're like, well, this is in draft. Google doesn't see that, just your broken link checker. And always run that broken link checker before you apply for Google AdSense. You don't want to be denied because you have too many broken links. You can get away with a few. They know it happens from time to time. They give you, they allow for that, but they won't allow if you got, 30% of your website has broken links in it. So just be cautious of that. So that is all I have for today, as far as how to modify your page, changing out your images, and getting your links to put in that page. And then just mark it as published or update when you get done with it. And it is available now for you to advertise that page.
Oh, that's great. Really?
So that's how we do it from beginning to end, or at least that's how I do it. I think most of the instructors, we do it basically the same way. We might, like I said, it just depends on your frame of mind at the time. If you have a blank page, how you want to do it. I was talking to one of my students earlier this week, and he was like, well, how do I start? If you have to go back to basic English 101, when you first had to start writing a term paper, or book report, what did you do? You wrote the title first, because you knew what your title was going to be about. And then you wrote an outline of, your topics of what you wanted to talk about. You can always change it as you write. It's nothing set in stone. That's why we call them a draft. But at least it'll give you some directions on where you want to go. Or if you just have a topic and you just want to write, by all means, just write. You can always come back and say, okay, well, I want this paragraph to be, in a block format, or I want this to be in a static, or I want this to be in a classic block. So you can always change it after you get your text in, or your content in. Don't worry about how it looks so much as getting your content. Once you get your content, as Paul says, you can pretty it up later. And that's why I always say content is always the key. Just like with this one, it all looks plain and simple, but it's there. But say if I wanted to draw attention to a particular paragraph, like with this one, say because it's in block format or paragraph format, you can come over here to your color settings and say, I want my background color to be pink. Change my background color to pink. I can use this one. This is only on block format. Change it to drop cap, and then my first letter is dropped on this one. And then update. So now it's going to draw attention to that. Same way with your headers. I have a header, say I want to center my header. And then I want to change it. I can change that header to a different color. If I wanted a bigger header, change it to a header 2. The same thing. And if you don't particularly like that red, you just come over here to custom color. It's going to show red, and then you can make it darker, more of a burgundy color, more of a lighter red, bring it over more to a pink color. So you can play with this color wheel to get it to the red that you want it. And then there's your color. The only thing is if you link your headers, it takes away your color. So that's the only thing about playing with that. Same thing with here. Again, this is classic block. Because it's in classic, it's done a little different. But again, I can still go in here and change and manipulate the colors however I want to. And make the whole page look different, make things stand out. Same way with, again, just change the color. If I wanted to change the text, I can do that. I can put this as a blue background and then go to the text color, maybe make the text white, and then update. So now the whole page is different, and there's certain paragraphs that I want them to draw the eye to. So then when I go to preview, there's certain things, you know, and like I said, this is a good way to draw the eye by using those backgrounds. Okay, here's Spontaneity. Oh, I need to read that. It's in a different color. So that's how you can draw the eye to things. You know, same thing with here, Romance and Wine, Conclusion. Okay, I need to read that. It's in a different color. So that's how you can make your page stand out, or if there's certain paragraphs that you want to stand out that you want to make sure they read, then use those color enhancements so that they can go in and that draws the eye. It works just as well, almost better than a picture sometimes, because they think it's different. And it's not really different so much as that's something you want to make sure that they read in your page. So that's one way that you can use the different techniques that you have in your website to make your website and your page more unique and stand out. So just play with it. I promise you there's nothing you can do to mess it up. You know, just play with your website, play with your colors, your images. The other thing you always want to do too is make sure that you do pick a feature image. Because when you advertise on these different sites, even though you choose an image, if you're on social media and you put your link out there, depending on the social media platform, they will choose an image that best fits their profile, unless you choose one. So you always want to make sure that the images in your website, excuse me, the images that are in your page are all images that you don't mind somebody picking out and using. But if there's one that you want to be particular for your website only, then you want to make sure you choose this feature image. And it doesn't have to be an image that's already in your website. It can be a totally different image altogether. So please, whoever's doing that, can you mute yourself? That is killing my ear. So yeah, so choose this feature image. And like this one I have, Join Our Wine Club. And because it's talking about wine and romance, but if I wanted to, I can replace this image. And I just click on the replace image, hopefully. And it pulls up my media library, and I can choose an image from here. You know, I can choose any image I want to, or if I want to choose a whole different image that I haven't downloaded previously, I can do that as well. So maybe I want to come and hit upload file and just select a different image and go to my logos and maybe choose image that I made for Valentine's Day that doesn't particularly say Valentine's, but still portrays. There we go. So I can do that one. Where did you go? Is it going to do it? I guess it's not going to do it today. Okay, for whatever reason, it's not doing, it's uploading it. Okay. So once that gets done, it's actually going to put it and replace that image that I have there. It's just going to take it a minute. Apparently my site's a little slow. So that's how you're going to go about, you know, changing that information. And then whenever I advertise my permalink right here, the picture that's going to show up there is going to be the one that will represent my page. So that's how you can go about, you know, getting that taken care of. So I'm going to go here and look at the chats. All right, so Miss Charlene, check your Skype. I put that information in there for you. You'll be able to get all your Sephora links and everything in there. And I'll be touching base with you on Skype later today. All right, so now my readability dropped. So let's see what, so now it says my transition words dropped to below 20. So I have to go back in and add some more transition words, which is fine, but it's still for the most part orange and green. It's still good for Google. I'll go back in and play with it some more and get it green and green again. So I don't know what I changed. I dropped in my transition words. I think I might have changed too many sentences, but that's fine. It's not red. As long as it's not red, you can use it on Google. Google does not like red anywhere. Even if you have a green and red, it doesn't like red. But I'll go in here and play with this some more. My flesh score went up. It went from 76 to 77, but that's because my passive voice went down again. It was at 10.9, so now it's down to 10.7. So I just got to get these transition words up. So that just means I need to make some more compound sentences, more ing words, which is fine. I can do that later. But for the most part, my page is done. So I'm going to open this up for some questions. And we want to make sure the questions are about our website, and we can get that taken care of as fast as we can. Okay. So if anybody has any questions, we're opening it up. Anybody?
Sheila?
Yes.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, you're early.
Yeah, I'm early. Yes. It's I don't know if anybody asked this previously, so, when I wasn't here, so I'm gonna give it a try anyway. When Paul was doing his webinar on Thursday, he was using hashtags on his pages. Could you go over that a little bit? For keywords, I think?
Yes. So yeah, you can use hashtags for keyword. And the reason he's using hashtags is just a spin on it. And being the fact that most social media places use hashtags for everything, if you use a hashtag for a key phrase or keyword, number one, it's going to be too short. So don't just use the hashtag in itself. You want to use the hashtag in just like you would any other key phrase. And then when people are searching on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter and they put in hashtag find wines, your page can be searched and indexed that way too, because that hashtag will come up because you've used it as a key phrase. So it works just like anything else, any other keyword, you're just using the hashtag symbol with the word.
Okay.
Is that for Instagram?
Yeah, it's for anything. So
I mean,
so if I wanted to come up here and basically change this to hashtag romance with wine, then I would use hashtag. You'd actually have to make sure that you use the hashtag in your SEO. So you would have this hashtag. Okay. And see, now my SEO went down because I haven't used that hashtag as part of my SEO.
Right.
So, and now when anybody goes to search, say that they're on Twitter. So let's pull up my Twitter. Pull up Twitter, and I want to search for, so if I come up here and search Twitter and I put in hashtag find wine. So there's fine wines. So it's pulling anything that has fine wines on it. If there was a page that had this as their key phrase, it would pull up whatever that website was.
Okay.
So that's why he's using that hashtag. It's just a different play on how to use your key phrases. I wouldn't use them a whole lot. You can actually use them down at the bottom. When you go to your, like I always put a conclusion on all of my pages. So if I was at the very bottom of the conclusion, if I wanted to put, I can say like, follow me on my social club, or follow me on my social media platforms. And then I can put like hashtag find wine, hashtag, whatever my pages are that I'm linked to with that on my website. And then you want to make sure that those are included in those pages that you have. Then whenever they use those hashtags, your pages will show up.
Wow, okay.
It's something new we're trying, but if you go on Facebook, you will see where people put hashtags at the bottom of their stuff. And that's just another way for people to find you on those platforms to where you don't necessarily have the option to put in your link. But if you put a hashtag with that, then your hashtag will pull up your website and they can always go that direction.
I think that would bring us a lot more people, don't you? with the hashtag?
If you are in a social media platform, then yes, the hashtags
Yes,
work
okay.
great. I still wouldn't use them as my key phrases all the time,
No.
because you still want your Google ranking.
Mhm.
And Google is not as friendly as hashtags as
Okay.
social media platforms are.
Excellent.
So
Sure,
you
and
can,
we can also use our, excuse me, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
our Dropbox for our pictures too, right?
yes, I use
Okay.
my Dropbox for everything, but I have the professional Dropbox, so it's almost unlimited.
Okay.
It's $200 a year. A lot of people, that's
Mhm.
just not in their budget.
Right now.
If you only have the free version, the best option you can do for your pictures is come over here to your folders file and just
Mhm.
go to your images or your pictures,
Mhm.
like right here, and create folders inside there and use it the same way.
Perfect.
I do it the same. And like I said, it just depends on the capacity of the memory of your computer that you're using.
Mhm.
I have 1 terabyte. That's going to be
Oh,
forever before I use
that's,
all that. So,
I've
so
never
you
heard
can,
that one.
so yeah, you can, and then you just come here and you pull this up, and then you just create, up here where it says folders, you can create new folders. You can go to your home, and there's where it says new folder, and you create
Okay.
the folder, and then, like I have blogging pictures as a folder. Then once you get into that folder, then you do the same thing. Go to home and create folders within that folder, and then you add pictures. So like with romance, I have a folder called romance in my blogging pictures folder. So then I just go in and pull up romance, and then anytime I want to add a romantic picture, I pull up my blogging folder file, pull up my romance file, and boom, put it in there. So then that's how you keep your images basically in
Organized.
order.
Yes.
And and that's why I say name your images. Don't find an image and say, oh, I like that image, and then you go up, pull up your picture, and then you have image 1, image 5, image blah 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 blah, and you're like, well, what's that image?
Right.
Um,
Right.
so if you name your images, then you know what it is. It's a picture of a sunset. It's a picture of a couple dancing in the woods. And you know what that image is. And then if you ever do pull up your images and they look weird, and you're like,
Mhm.
okay, I can't see my images. They're not showing up the way I want them to. It's probably because of the setting that you have them sitting in. So you
Okay.
always want to make sure that when you pull up your images, sometimes they'll come up, and I'll show you, they'll look like this, and you'll just have this little detail. You don't actually have the image. So you just go up here to your view,
Mhm.
and you select how you want your images to appear. I always put mine
Oh,
as the large icon, and
okay.
then as my computer catches up, it will actually show me the image of the picture.
Oh,
So if you come up and your pictures are like this, just go and double check to see what your images are, and it'll pull them up.
oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay? You're welcome.
Mm.
Okay. Anybody else? Questions, answers?
How's your daughter doing?
She's good. She just called me. She took my nephew, her nephew out to go shopping, get him a new book bag and some shoes. And
Oh.
she just called me because my husband's playing in Albemarle. He's having a tournament today, so we're going to be leaving shortly. His next game's at 4:15, he said, or he's got to be on the field at 4:15. They probably won't get started about 4:30. So it's about a 30-minute drive from here. So we're all going to go up there and watch him play. He's so excited. So
So I can't keep you overtime?
No, not today. She surprised me this morning and showed up. Well, it was this afternoon. We had just come back from the ball field with my grandson, me and him, because he had practice this morning. So we were sitting out there in 52, or I was sitting out there in 52-degree weather, listening to Paul's webinar.
Oh, wow.
So those of you that was on the webinar this morning and heard me talking, I was wrapped up in a blanket, walking around trying to stay warm.
I know. It was nice to hear from you and see you on there this morning.
So yeah, I try not to miss Paul's webinar if I can help it. And because you never know, he says things that I don't think about, and he asks me things sometimes that he's having issues with. So
and he did today.
Yeah,
I
we
know,
kind of
yeah.
we kind of play off on each other.
Yep.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so we brainstorm sometimes a lot, me and him. It's fun. Um, So, but that's the
Yeah.
good thing about this program and about the groups of people that we deal with. Somebody's going to have the answer for the question that you have. So if you have a question, don't think it's stupid or that somebody else has already answered it. I promise you, I tell my students all the time, if you got a question, I guarantee you 10 other people have the same question. They're just afraid to ask. It just takes one person to ask the question that everybody gets that aha moment, you know?
That's true.
So always ask. That to me, there's no stupid question. If you have to ask the question, you need to answer. So it's just that simple. I've never criticized anybody for wanting to know something or trying to better themselves. You need that, and if questions is the only way you're going to get an answer. That doesn't mean we're always going to tell you the exact answer. We might tell you to go look at a video or here, give you a place to go. Because sometimes it sticks better when you research it yourself than somebody
That's right.
telling you over and over the same thing, because it doesn't stick. It's just like my dad always used to tell me, sometimes it takes you to get your hands dirty for you to remember the lesson that you need to learn.
True.
So yeah, there was plenty of times, like I said, I sent my dad a message in Facebook, yeah, I thank you today for using the rod of correction when I was small, because there's no telling what I would have been if he hadn't. But it takes us learning those lessons the hard way sometimes to make them stick.
Yeah.
But I'm always a researcher. That's why I said, when I wrote my Easter story this week, I did the research on why Easter doesn't fall on the same day every day. That was one of the things, but I couldn't figure out how to incorporate it in my story. And there was a lady on Evolution. She told me, she was like, well, why isn't it? And I was like, well, I know why it is. I just couldn't put it in my story. And I got to thinking, and we were carrying a conversation back and forth on the Evolution group. And I was like, you know what? That would make a great trivia.
Right.
And just by somebody else, and she was fairly new, but by her making me think, I was like, I could throw some trivia in there and not distract from the Easter story. And sure enough, it worked out perfect, so I got to throw that little trivia information in there and tied it right back to the Jews and Jesus, and it just worked perfect. But it's how you bounce off of each other that gets your creative juices flowing and makes you maybe get out of a situation that you didn't think you could get out of. So always, especially on my Saturday classes, if you can't get with your instructor and you really have a situation or a question about your PBS and you need an answer, by all means, ask here. If it's about your website, either I've gone through it or if I've taught somebody how to get out of it. So, and like I said, there's no stupid questions. None at all when it comes to your PBS. You don't know what you don't know.
Oh, thank you, Sheila. Really appreciate that.
Anytime.
Sheila, I have a question for you. I know I've been kind of quiet today, but I was just kind of absorbing. On our homepage where we used to advertise for our DC, the other wine, we had it says now available Canada, USA, Kingdom, United Kingdom, Australia, and Germany. Is that still a go, or is that?
You need to put in there, and you do have pages in your website for all of those. You need to put coming soon.
Coming soon, okay.
Yeah, coming soon. I know Rory was saying on our instructor call on Monday that Canada, they have a few of the provinces in Canada ready to go. The biggest ones are still giving them a headache about it. So Canada will probably be available within the next couple months. Same thing with Australia. We don't know anything about the UK yet, but once they get those two up and running, the other one will probably be easy to get into. And then the way he's talking is once you get that, then we'll be able to launch the program where they can get in and get the classes and the training and be able to market in those countries, and then build up a following or a clientele, so that we can go to their countries and say, hey, you've got business people here that are doing this. We need to be able to ship to them, and open it up to other countries to be able to ship to. But they're right on the cusp of it. But those other countries, you need to go in and modify it to make sure it says Napa Valley Wines, Sonoma Valley Wines, program programming is coming soon, or you can put in there that we are updating for our new wine club or our new wine membership, and let them know that we are having it, we just don't have it yet.
Okay, I'm being told to put it in draft form.
No, if you've
Oh.
advertised it, if you have advertised it already in those countries, do not take it out of draft. You lose all that SEO, you lose all that traffic. Put in that disclaimer that our program has changed, we are modifying it and getting it ready to market to you soon. If you have not advertised it, then yes, put it in draft, but change it to upcoming soon.
Yeah, because I went into Rory's PBS and his hasn't changed. He hasn't changed anything.
He hasn't changed his yet. He's just so busy, he hasn't changed it.
That's what I kind of figured, so.
Yeah, and all it is, like I said, you're just going to change it to make sure it centers around Napa Valley and Sonoma Valley wines. Anything that says wines around the world, we don't have that anymore as of yet. That's another option they're going to get later on down the road, but not right now. Everything should be centered around Napa and Sonoma Valleys. The other countries that we are not presently marketing to, you need to let them know that we, that's why I say put a disclaimer that we have changed our wine program. We are in the process of getting it ready to market to your countries, and that information will be available to you as soon as possible. Just put a little disclaimer in there, and then basically you're gonna just send, write the page and the article like you would any other, like it exists. You're just gonna have that disclaimer at the beginning. Please, whoever has that noise in the background, just mute yourself. It's coming through really clear. So yeah, but the thing about it is, and this is what a lot of people are doing, and you're losing not only traffic, but you're losing your marketability, is you're taking pages that you've advertised and you've taken them out off the market and put them in draft, and then people's out there looking for them because they've seen them and they can't find them. It's really doing you a disservice, because now they're thinking, oh, that website don't exist anymore, and they won't search you at all. So if you've advertised it at all in any of the free sites, social media or anything, do not take it down and put it in draft. Put that disclaimer in there and still leave it there, because once it's available, you don't have to worry about getting that traffic back. If you've never advertised it, then it's safe to put it in draft, because no one's seen it yet.
So yeah, mine's still up there, but I just went in and told coming soon.
Yes.
Or soon to be available. I can't remember what I put, but I know I just changed like the title of it. Coming soon.
That's all you need to do. Yeah. And just make sure that everything that's in there, you can actually send them to your wine ambassador page. You can still leave all the links in there, because none of that is going to change. And they can still read about it. If they try to sign up for it, it won't allow them to.
Okay.
So yeah, wine ambassador will halt it. It won't let it, just like if there are few states that are here that do not allow you to ship wine. If they try to sign up in one of those states, it won't allow you. Kentucky finally does, but when you sign up for the ship to, it won't allow you to do it as a ship to. You have to put a different state for a ship to, but it will allow you to sign up in Kentucky, but you can't ship your wine to Kentucky. So Utah, they got a bill in their legislation for direct ship for alcoholic beverages. If that passes, then Utah will be able to ship wine. Rory had made a statement to that last week on our Monday night call, that they do have that in legislation, but they won't know anything until, after it all passes or whatever.
I bet he'll be glad when it does.
Oh yeah, because he has to go across the border to get his.
No, he's gonna have to do that for a while though.
Yeah. So but yeah, just like I said, any page that you have, even if the market or the affiliate goes under or changes or drops out, just take the link out and leave your content out there. If it's a page you've advertised, never take an advertised page and draft it. You lose everything, and you don't want to do that. Just leave it out there until you get a new link to put in it, but never take a advertised page and put it in draft. Never, 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 never.
Okay, but you can always just go in and create another one to simulate that one.
If it's an advertised page and you've taken it out of draft, you'll just have to rework it back all over again.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? No? Come on. We got about 15 minutes.
Did you say 50 minutes?
You funny. You funny.
Sheila, it's Constance. I
Yes,
was
dear.
thinking, did you go over the cachet? Remember we had talked about.
Oh, yeah. The other thing is when, yeah, when you if you're having issues with your website, you know, we always tell you to go into your computer, go into your settings and delete your cache, clean out your cookies and things like that. You also have a cache in your website, and it works just like your computer, that it basically keeps everything that you've done, and it can fill up your computer, even your program. Your website has a certain amount of memory and that it can use and store. So if you have issues with your website, not your computer, just your website in general, it may not always be related to your computer. It could just be that your website in general is cluttered, basically. So you do have this delete cache, and I always just make sure I go to my dashboard, and you know, about every couple of months, just go in and just tell it to delete the cache, and it cleans out any stuff that's not being used. And you want to make sure that every page that you have that you want it to be, that's not in draft, all your published pages are published, everything's the way it needs to be, and it will clean out your cache for your website, which means it gets rid of any unused information. It could be an update, you know, that was 5 updates ago. Those updates still stay in your cache until you tell them you don't need it anymore. Since we do have our tech board, I don't see any reason why they need to stay in there. We can always send it to tech. You can fix it and put it. They're always going to put the latest update in there. So you want to clean that out. Like I said, you don't need to worry about it as long as your website's working fine. But we have people that come up, you know, and they'll try to save something and it won't save. And it's not necessarily their computer. Their computer can be working fine. It, you know, it works fine. It goes where it needs to go. They have no trouble. It's just when they come to their website. That's usually 2 things. Either your website's been up too long. If you've been working in your website more than 2 or 3 hours and it won't save, it's timed itself out. So you can type in it all day and it's not going to save. So if you're in it more than 2 or 3 hours, always go up and hit your refresher button. If your autosave is working, when it comes up, you're going to get that pink bar across the top that says you have an autosave. Always click on the autosave because it's the most recent. I think our website's set up to save every 15 or 20 minutes of activity. So if it's something that you did right before you decided to save it and it didn't save it, just know you might lose the last 2 paragraphs or pictures or whatever you put in there. But always do the auto fresh. Again, that's why I say whenever you're creating a page, after every couple of paragraphs or every couple of changes, hit your save. If it's a draft, hit save draft. If it's a page that's published and you're modifying, hit update. That way, if that happens, you don't lose too much information, and it's there for you to use, you know, when you come back. If you've not been in it, say you just got in it, you just finished a page, it's been less than an hour and it won't save, then you want to go and number 1, when you're in a page, you have these 3 lovely little icons over here. Let me get it to, when you're in a page, you have these 3 little dots. So if you are modifying a page and it won't save and you've done a lot of work, then you go to these 3 dots and you hit your code editor, okay? And that puts your whole page in HTML. It doesn't worry about a block, because if you try to copy it from here, it will only copy per block. So you want to go into your code editor, it changes it to HTML, and then you want to hit Control A, which highlights the whole thing, hit Control C, which copies it, and then you want to go and hit your refresh button, okay? So once you hit your refresh button, sometimes it'll take you back to your login, and you have to put your login information in. And if you have to do that, then you put your login, and then you just come back to your page, and you're going to have the code. And then you just do the same thing. You go back to your 3 dots, you hit your code editor, and then you highlight. And instead of Control-C to copy, you're going to Control-V in Victor, and it's going to paste. And that will get you all of your information that you had previously, and you won't lose anything. So, and we'll go over that again, I'm sure. But that way, if you have that situation that it doesn't save, that's the way to do it. Change it to HTML code, and then when you come back and paste it in, then all you have to do is just change it from code back to visual, and you'll see your page as it is with all the pictures, all the links, exactly as your page was before you finished it. So, but if you just get there and you keep seeing where it goes, saving, and that never changes, then you've timed out of your page, or your cache is too empty and it's too slow. So the first thing I would tell you to do is go and re-sign back in. If you come back in and it still is doing the same thing, then go and delete your cache. Always make sure though that you are in your dashboard before you do that. And then that way it will clean out your whole website. If not, it will only clean out the current page that you're on. Okay. That's only if, like I said, your website's having issues. Then if that doesn't fix it, then get with your instructor and say, hey, I got some issues with my website, and they'll get it to Matt, who's our technical support, and he'll go in and see. He might have to go in and reset a few things. Okay. All right, anybody else?
I just have one more question about the hashtag thing. I'm back to that.
Okay.
Now, when you do put the hashtag in front of your like focus keyword, or make it kind of your focus keyword, how does that affect the slug and the permalink?
It has to be in there.
In both the slug and permalink? Yeah,
it will. Yeah, as soon as you put that in your key phrase, because your key phrase determines what your slug is going to be.
Okay.
And your link, yeah. So as soon as you use that hashtag, it's going to be part of your key phrase and part of your link.
The permalink, it gets, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Are we good?
We good.
All right.
We're good.
Well, if we're good, we're going to call it a Saturday. Oh, next Saturday.
Uh-oh. What's up?
Next Saturday, I will not be here. So we won't be having class next Saturday. I'm going to post it in Evolution, and I'm also going to post it on the student classroom board. I will be out of town. I'm leaving Thursday. My husband has a tournament, so I have to be with him. I have to keep the book that weekend. They don't have anybody to keep the scorebook, so I won't be able to do class. So
can't you do it remotely?
No, I tried that one time before, and I got the scorebook all wrong, and I got fussed at because we were the official scorebook, and I missed the run, and I was like, man. So next week we will not be having class.
Okay, thanks for the heads up, so we know.
So heads up, and at first I thought I was going to get to stay home, but apparently I'm not going to. I said, you'd think with these men been playing ball since they're in high school, somebody would know how to keep a scorebook. But apparently they say they don't have time. They like to watch the game. So, but anyway, so I won't be here next Saturday.
Okay.
So, but yeah, if you have any questions, like I said, I'll still be available on Skype. So, always Skype me with anything you need, and or get with your instructor, or just save your question for the next week. I'll be back here next week, Brighttail and Bushtail.
Awesome.
Everybody have a good week, and I'll see everybody in 2 weeks.
Yep. See you in 2 weeks, guys. Y'all have a good day.
All right. Bye, Sheila. Have a good trip.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.